Good day and welcome to REI Radio Chat with myself, Sidima, Mfeku. Well, this is a platform where new trends and innovative inventions by players in the real estate industry are published and talked about, all in a bid to advance your chances of venturing in the real estate sector and making your journey in the industry an easy one. We are the Real Estate Investor magazine on all digital or social media platforms. For all details on our activities and campaigns, be on the lookout for our digital magazine and go to www.reimag.co.za for that magazine and a whole lot of other details about the Real Estate Investor magazine. And now we get to the guest of the day. This is a young man, a young, independent, very motivated, self-taught real estate investor who has made more than 100,000 in less than 60 days or less than 30 days. What was it? Ezra Rasethe is going to be speaking to us about that and a whole lot of other things that he's been doing in the real estate industry. Ezra, thank you so much for speaking to us. How are you doing today?
I'm all right on yourself, man.
We're good. It's COVID-19 times, it's lockdown times. Everything is just unpredictable. People are surviving just by faith during this time. And how has it been for you as a business person?
Well, I think COVID did affect most of businesses and most of us in terms of our projects that we do. I think one of the things that you didn't mention there is I'm also a real estate developer, so some of our projects on development sites are like a little bit slowed down, but right now at least they're catching up since we're on level R3. However, we didn't give up because of COVID-19. We were one of the people who took this chance to implement what ideas we had to put our business online, because this is something that we've been doing for 3 years now. So COVID-19 did help us a little bit accelerate in that part. So we've been doing weekly live streams, trying to keep touch since back in April with our investors, and try to educate them in terms of how to navigate around, meeting with real estate experts, finance experts, and putting all the tools and everything together to make sure that they can be able to digitize their real estate businesses actually from now on going forward. To be honest, we were not ready for this pandemic, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the last one, So we're putting everything together we can so we can be sure that we're ready for the next pandemic.
How has it been for you in the real estate sector?
It's been a very interesting journey. You meet a lot of people that are very, very interesting. And at the same time, I think the real estate industry, good part about it is that you get a lot of people who can help you. Because before I got into real estate, I had my first business in fashion when I was 20 years old. And it did grow in a couple of outlets, in the Limpopo here in Johannesburg and all that stuff. So the only struggle that we had that time is that there was not a lot of community like there is in real estate, where you can find mentors, people who can help you out and point you in the right direction. And, I don't know, it was a little bit more isolated. You're on your own and you have to do this, business is a gladiator's game. So everybody who's playing in the business knows that they can go out anytime. So at the same time, you just want to be in a position where you can be able to minimize your risk when it comes to what you can be able to do and try to increase your chances of success, I should say. So it's been an interesting journey from answering your question right correctly.
Hearing you saying that you started your business at 20, right?
Yeah.
As a young person, okay, well, I might be older than 20, but still, I'm not thinking business at this point, because there are so many things that get into business that are talked about often. You need to be ready to start investing yourself in it. You need to be ready to give yourself, to push yourself, to encourage yourself. You need to be ready for so many things. And one would say that's perhaps the reason why young people today are not going into business, because they don't have the motivation. And at age 20, you have the motivation. I mean, this is big. This is something you'd want to speak to a group of like a lot of young people to say, work on it. It can happen. I did it. Do you think that is something you do, and it's something that young people in South Africa really needed?
First of all, for me to start in business at 20 is because I grew up in a family where there was like small businesses here and there, So I must say that had a little bit of an effect in terms of me having an interest in business, because when I was young, I used to go with my dad here. They were selling, they were doing this, they were doing that and that and the other. But on top of that, I was just, we're talking about self-motivation here and being able to drive yourself.
Yeah.
I was in a place of shame. I'm too independent, and that's another thing. And my dad tried to push me in the edge to tell me, look, you have to earn everything that you're gonna get, And I knew that I'm a little bit too. I don't know. I just knew every time that I'm a little bit too stubborn to be having a job or working. 100%, 100%. Because I have my own ideas, I have the way I want to do things and things like that. And it's all different strokes for different people. Yeah. So after I knew that, I was like, okay, I need to find a way. I used to tell my sister I'm going to graduate a millionaire. So she's like, no, there's nobody who can do that. So long story short, I just went on to start my business. I was motivated. Actually, I started it from my pocket money when I was in university. I started buying material and printing T-shirts and things like that. And it just how it grew. And what young people can do to get in that mindset is realize that when you're young, you have a less to lose. And my expenses were covered at the time, whether we pay my rent and things, If I could fail, I could start again. I'm still young. I'm like 20, I still have, my entire life to start again and get it right. And the earlier you start, the better. So one of the motivations too is also to look at other people who started early.
There's a sort of I don't want to say it's a barrier for young Black people investing in the real estate sector, but there is something that people are afraid of when it comes to the real estate sector. I don't know if it's I don't think it's failure. I'm pretty sure it's not failure, but it's something bigger than that, And someone wants to hear how was it? Why was it so easy for you to just do it? I'm talking now precisely about the real estate sector and investing in property.
Well, it's because first of all, it's because my first business failed, and I met my first mentor at the time. He told me I needed business systems. He told me everything I did wrong, in my business. And he gave me a book called Guide of Investing by Robert Kiyosaki. I read the book. Told me whatever business you're going to be going into, get a mentor. Yeah. So after he did that, and he was from Zimbabwe, so I think he went back at that time, and I went back to school. So after I did that I went back to starting a lot of business. I read every month when I was buying grocery, I was buying books. So part of investing in yourself is just getting a lot of knowledge. I think that's when I also ran into Real Estate Investor magazine. People also look into that. Idea starters. You can buy real estate in Mauritius here and there. I'm like, wow, geez, I can buy it. Yeah, this is possible. I didn't know this is really you know what I mean? Yeah. You can buy citizenship, whatever. I'm like, guys, what am I doing with my life? So at some point, my sister invited me to one of the Robert Kiyosaki events, and I went there. I was hoping to meet Robert Kiyosaki. Actually, I even prepared. I took notes on the book. I was like, I'm going to ask this guy a lot of questions. Well, unfortunately, I think it was a clickbait. and he wasn't there. But I'm getting to a point of how did it become easy for me. But what I realized from the difference between real estate industry and my industry that I was in before, which is fashion industry, is the support was there. There was a lot of mentors, coaches, other people who've done it, and you're learning from people with experience, not people who'd never done anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that is something that played a big role. And part of me looking for somebody who can help me, that's when I met Neil. I think he's somebody who, amongst other people, who really, really had an impact in my life in terms of making it easy for me. So I would say if you're looking to start investing, and that's why I'm doing it today, because before I met Neil, I actually send everybody I can online an inbox looking for them to be my mentor. Yeah. If I hear an entrepreneur on radio and they say, okay, there's this guy called Miles Kubek, Vuyo's restaurant. It's actually on Vilagati Street in Soweto, and also in Zanton, I think. They still have a branch there. So he was speaking on radio, and then I had his name, I wrote it down, I went to LinkedIn, sent him a message, like, Miles, can you be my mentor? See another guy, I did the same thing. See another guy, I did the same thing. So I think I sent 50 people, to be my mentor, and none of them responded. So it was a struggle for me to get a mentor, and I knew that I needed somebody who could point me in the right direction. And that was something I learned from my previous mentor. So when I sent my email to REIM, and I was like, hey guys, can you help me out? And I'm looking for this and that. And they connected me with Neil. I was so excited. I was like, damn, so things are starting to make sense. So I would say that the one thing that also minimized my risks or minimized my fears of starting into real estate industry was knowing that if I mess up, I'm going to be having somebody I can call. And actually, to tell you the truth, when I enrolled with Neil and his mentorship, I went, he was on holiday actually in December. I was putting my first offer on the 29th or 30th of December. And he was not there. So I made some mistakes. They asked me questions I didn't know what to do. And then when he came back, I had to tell him what I did. And then he tried to help me fix it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that idea of saying I have somebody who I can call when I'm messing up and they can be able to point me in the right direction actually put me on. So that's why I'm very, very passionate about what I do right now. And I'm trying to make this thing as easy as possible. And also remove that stigma to say real estate is only for the wealthy people.
Yeah.
Because people have that idea to say, no, I'm going to build everything I'm doing and then I'm going to get into real estate. Like, no, you can actually get into real estate, build yourself up, even when you don't have money. That's what we're going to be talking about today, because that's a lot of issue that people don't have, especially now because we're getting young people who are like 17 years old who say, I want to be in real estate. I'm getting people who are 20 years old, they want to be in real estate. And it reminded me of myself when I started. So I'm saying, okay, with all the systems I've put together, these guys can be able to benefit from that and be able to build their real estate businesses and build connections, learn how to negotiate, learn how to acquire deals, learn how to build finances. Some of the deals that I work in today, like I'm working on 100 million rand deals. That's from my other development. The other one is like 350. I used creative financing, I did put in my own money, yes, but I did use creative financing, a lot of it too. So I wouldn't say that what they're learning is basically just the core of it, because as much as you can use bank financing and you can use any other sort of finance, you're gonna hit a place where you need to actually raise money. You need to actually use creative financing. You need to actually be able to find other avenues that you can be able to partner up with other people. How do you negotiate? How do you negotiate that? How do you use seller financing? How do you use installment sales and all that stuff? So that is part of the journey. And I think like the main thing besides the fear of people thinking real estate is for the rich and all the myth that they think about it, that you need money, is also just lack of education. Lack of education is something that I also realized when I went back. People are asking me, how did you get into property? I'm like, trying to explain, I went to a seminar, What's a seminar? Okay, so seminars, this was happens. Okay, now you know what a seminar is, but I mean, there's a little bit of a lack of education sort of situation here. And I think that the more this education gets out there, and what you guys are doing is great. And I think that the more people get to understand, like, okay, this is really possible. This is easy for me to start. Even if I'm coming from high school, I can do this part-time. Or even if I'm coming from this, I can do this to build capital to do whatever I want to do. Because the most important thing is the skills. Actually, that's what I think. So I think I'm talking too much there. So I need to slow down.
Okay, now let's talk NMNRI. Okay, just what is this abbreviation? What is it for? Like, what is the?
Oh, it's a no money, no risk investing system.
So it's no money, no risk investment system. So here people are investing without using any money, or people are enrolling in your course without money. Like, which one is it? Is it enrolling for the course or
we did have both actually. Initially, we didn't have it without money, and we had a lot of people who registered in our online university, which was cool. The only problem is that people don't pay attention when their money is stopped. That's the reality. So we had to sort of revise that to say, okay, we need more people to be able to close deals in 90 days. And then that's why we had to revise that idea. And so I just created like a 6-step blueprint where people can learn how to invest in real estate with no money. And I think it has like 4 ways that can be able to build like income streams in between that. It's just a process where we help you close your first real estate deal in 90 days using creative financing. Creative financing can be anything from seller financing, can be anything from partnerships with another investor, can be anything to like no money down deals, can be able to proxy assignment on real estate deals. There's a lot of other ways. So there's like 20 ways that we teach people to be able to use. But mainly we just try to challenge them even when they have money to say, look, you might have money, you might be qualified for this at the bank. We just want to challenge you to go here without no money. And the main point of that is when you want to get, a lot of people who approach me say, okay, Ezra, like for example, I got a 19-year-old who I was on a call with in the past week. He was telling me, I want to build a global student accommodation company, which is possible. It's very, very simple right now to build something like that. And he's like, I want to build a complex at home and then do this for my dad and my parents and all that stuff, which is something very interesting because that's something that drives me too. And I told him, look, everything that you want is really possible. You just have to learn the principles. And one of the principles that you need to learn is to raise money. So raising money is something that all real estate investors, big or small or whatever, you know how to raise money correctly. And that's how they can be able to expand their portfolios, build their businesses.
On the actual link or the website of NMNRI, it says, learn to detect opportunities in real estate investment, close your first deal without spending a dime. So how are you intending to, sort of feed these people with this sort of information? And how are you intending to give them the skill? Do you have someone that you're working with or some people that you're going to be working with that you're going to team up together with and say, okay, go pitch something like this to this person or do something. Who else is involved in this?
Yeah, so we do have an online community. So I have a team of 5, and then we do have community managers. We do have online communities that they can be able to post deals. There's a lot of guys in my network that I can connect them with. And I try to teach them different avenues they can use that, because I would say your first business is going to be starting with friends and family. And then you extend it from that to, other people too. We're going to also connect you into a community of network of investors. There's a lot of other things that are happening in the background that, we try to make sure that in 90 days, this deal is done and this deal is closed. Actually, from both sides, from the seller and the buyer side. So, answering your question, there is a community for investors that we have online, and there is some of them are closed groups, some of them are open groups, and then there's also people that I can link them with. But I want to push them to also learn to do them on your own. And if they can't, I think the last resort is me linking them to any buyer or investor in the market. And if I like the deal, I'll probably take it myself too. Yeah, but the goal there is to just teach you from beginning to end to find the deal, do everything, and then, structure it properly with the seller, structure it properly with the buyer. I'm teaching you how to close it properly, because a lot of things that are happening when you're closing deals is just realizing people's fears basically and helping them, be able to get over that so you can be able to close your deal. So I think that is the most important thing there, because if they close the first one, then they can close the next 10 deals that they want to with the same system. And principles are the same. You use the same system when you're doing deals for yourself, and you don't need to change anything there. I think that is the most important skill they can get, actually, closing your first deal.
When I first heard that we're going to be talking this campaign, we're going to be looking at this campaign, the first thing that came to my mind was young people. Are you going to be working with young people? Like, what are the ages?
Okay, the average property owner is like 55 years old. Because looking at people between 35 and 75, actually, now who are, your normal real estate investors, but the new generation of kids really don't want to go to work, surprisingly. I have 17-year-olds who call me, 19-year-olds. There's a couple of 22, 25-year-olds. Most of them are 25. And we have like 300 people who already registered for tomorrow's webinar that we're having. And most of them, I promise you, it's like the demographic is very, very funny and it's interesting. And also people we have on online university, it's a little bit of a mixture of both, like people who are already, let's say the average investor who's like 55-year-old. And doesn't have to stop anything. You can buy property during your break at school. You can buy property during anything you do. It's not something that you have to do full time. And I think if you learn the skill, that's the most important part, because now you have a high income skill you can use for yourself when you're building your portfolio. You can use to help your family if you want to set them up. You can use it to help your friends, neighbors, everybody else, investors, people you know. So this is just opening you to a whole new universe where you're walking around and you're seeing properties, and you're not only seeing it as like a property, but you also start seeing it as opportunities. So that's why I would press on that to say, so that's why I would press on that to say, okay, now you're going to become an opportunity detector, because you're going to be going around looking for opportunities and detecting, okay, that might be my next deal that's going to be paying me. And I think that's looking at also our country right now. We had like an unemployment of 30% before COVID. So right now the Treasury was predicting that it's going to go to, I think, 36%. So we are going to have people who are going to need to learn how to do things differently. And part of doing things differently is learning different skills, having knowledge, having other things that are not controlled by you getting a job or not. Even when you're looking for a job, if you have something like this that you can do, I don't think you can be able to lose out on that opportunity.
When you're looking at the current demographics in South Africa when it comes to employment and education and unemployment, you can see that most of the people that are unemployed are educated people. So therefore, I think young people or people who are in schools these days are like, no, I don't want to go on to the same trend that is going to leave me unemployed. So this is the time where I want to actually just find a way in which I can invest and be my own employer. And it actually speaks to what you're saying here, that you are looking for more wealth-based, income-based, and investment-based freedom. This is economic freedom that the South African youth really is grappling with.
If it's the idea of freedom that we can be able to get that is based on things that are very simple. It's not like Bitcoin or anything else that you can be able to go. Not that I'm throwing shade on Bitcoin and all that stuff. So there are some people who are very, very good at it and they've studied it very well. But I don't find it as easy as to understand, because if property is that simple, you probably know a painter, you know a plumber, you know a handyman, you know what a paint is, what a door is. So it's that simple, and simplifying it, there's property everywhere you stay. If you can learn this sort of skills, then building from there going forward, you also build a network, you're also building your negotiation skills, championing them, you're also building your deal acquisition skills. You can end up being part of a team where we also hire like independent agents on my company. And we have people who look for deals for us. So you can also be part of a team where you say, okay, I'll bring you the deals and then you guys pay me a commission. You know what I mean? Or I'll do this and you guys do that. So now it's opening a whole new opportunity for you. And then you can say, okay, now I think I can become my own business owner. Or I can, use the system to create my own business for my own. So now you have that option also. So that is something that is very, very important to have that freedom, and to also have the income that is coming with that, and having the skills to be able to generate it anytime as you want. And this is something that nobody can be able to take away from you. It's a skill that is it's just going to be invested in you.
I think that's almost the end of our conversation. But one last thing I'd like to hear from you. What more do you have that's coming up for young people?
Other things, that are coming also, if you're part of our community, you're going to be seeing all of that stuff. So I hope that you can be able to also give these guys the free ebook that we have. And they can also learn a little bit about what this thing is all about. And I mean, we cover like 3 studies in there and 3 strategies that I've used personally, which is a little bit of what I do. And then they can also go into the course and then be able to find out the training online and see how they can be able to access this system.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Ezra.
No, 100%. And thank you so much for having me today.
That's Ezra Rasethe speaking to us there about his new campaign. He's looking into developing and helping people in the real estate industry grow their profiles and spectra. If you want to hear more about this, check for the link with an ebook where everything is just explained broadly. Thank you so much to everyone that's listening to REI Radio. My name is Sidima. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye.